Coach, we're going to begin with you. Westminster is coming off back-to-back PAC titles. How does your 2022 team and coaching staff continue that success this season?
Well, I think it's a cumulative effect. When we first started this process 9 years ago, it's been a lot of hard work, a lot of support. A lot of guys have bought in and really helped us get to where we needed to be in terms of the program and our expectations. As far as trying to do it for a third straight time, we got to get better. I mean, everybody in this room is going to do the same. And so for us, not to be complacent and take an honest assessment of where we're at as a team and where we think we need to get to. We by no means were perfect a year ago. We certainly identified some of the areas that we think we need to get better at. And I believe in our group. I believe in the guys that are coming back, and I believe in the coaches that we have and the support that we have. And I know it's not going to be easy, but that's our main goal, is just to get better.
Westminster broke a program record with 19 All-PAC selections in 2021. Talk about how you intend to carry that over to this season, how you're going to get the same wide variety of positive impact from your players currently.
Yeah, I mean, managing players is probably our number one responsibility as coaches. We try to push them to be better versions of themselves every year. There's always different types of personalities in our locker room, which I think intentionally is a good thing for us and our group. We don't all look the same. We don't all talk the same. We don't all act the same. We don't all come from the same areas. We've got guys from, Gabe's a great example, a guy from Georgia. So I think getting everybody comfortable with how we do things is going to be really important. But to specifically say, how do you get all conference players, you have team success. Individual awards are great, and our players, I'm very, very thankful that they've been recognized for that. And that's really my peers. The coaches recognize that. That's how we vote for all conference, and that speaks more to the group of coaches that look at these guys every week in and week out. But, it's really us buying in and our players. The same theme you're going to hear me keep saying is we have to get better. So, Gabe will tell you that. I'll say that. Gabe's been an all-conference player, but, there's things that he wants to do personally to get better to help this team. So that's how we can continue to have success.
Coach, you mentioned Gabe, your player representative today. Talk a little about his impact as a leader in your program on and off the field.
I think leaders lead by example. I think leaders have to be vocal. I think leaders have to put the work in. I will tell you this, in our building over the summer, I was in there a lot, and probably the guy that was in there more than I was Gabe Cleveland. He had an outstanding summer off season. He worked extremely hard with one of our former players and coaches, Dylan Hogue. So he has an uncanny ability to lead by example, but what I think Gabe is going to do much better this year is lead vocally and get our players to understand that, there's a price to pay to be successful. Gabe's paid that price. He's an extremely athletic guy, but he's a good guy. He's somebody that I think you want to be around, spend some time with. And that's another factor of being a leader. You have to be well-liked and respected. And I don't think there's anybody in our program that doesn't respect Gabe. So I'm happy for him. I'm excited to see what he does this year.
Coach, when you and your staff broke down the film from last season, what part of the game do you think you want to improve upon from last year to this year the most?
Yeah, the short answer is everywhere, but specifically we've identified, and particularly on offense, we've got to not turn the ball over. We were careless with the football a year ago on offense, and it cost us in some pivotal games. So that's number one on our priority, is to play mistake-free football. So that has to be emphasized. We have to get back to running the ball. I think Gabe would agree with us. We like to run the football. We've always taken a lot of pride in that. You have to be selective. There's certain teams that are going to prevent that from happening just by a number standpoint, but I think offensively that's got to be there. Defensively, I think for us, we had a really pretty consistent year in terms of statistics, but I think for us all overall, we have to have a more consistent approach in regards to not giving up big plays. I think big plays in really pivotal times will hurt you. And so we've got to do a better job of making sure that we can't give that up. Special teams, to be perfectly honest with you, Kevin, I think our punting unit was extremely inconsistent. In two big football games that we lost this year, our special teams, particularly in the punt unit, had their hands on it, and that has to be better. And that's my responsibility as the head coach to make sure that's better. So, and I certainly think we'll do a better job of that.
Coach, the last question I have for you. It's safe to say that you've been able to establish a winning culture at Westminster over your first 8 seasons with the program. With your first years moving onto campus pretty soon, how do you get them to buy into your process, to the Titan process, and continue the strong tradition that's in place right now?
I think walking through the halls of Westminster already allows them to understand the tradition and history of Westminster football. When you have 6 national championships in your school history, you have such a tremendous football alumni base. Part of our recruiting pitch is that. Come to Westminster and be part of a program that's had so much success over the course of our career and over the course of the school's history. So that in itself lends to a pride, a certain way to do things, a Titan way, if that makes sense. But our current players are really the caretakers of the football program. They're the ones that set the tone in regards to this is how we do things, this is how we work, this is our expectations. It is my job to make sure that I support those players in that endeavor. So surround them with good people first, good coaches, and make sure that they have everything they need to be successful. And I think myself, Jason Leonard, our athletic director, have done a tremendous job of setting the tone for that. It's just them going in and having fun and playing football.
Coach, thank you as always. Gabe, a few questions for you. I was trying to figure out how I wanted to phrase this first question, but as an offensive lineman, you play a position that often doesn't get the credit it deserves. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but from my standpoint, that's the case. How does that drive you to succeed and improve each day on the field?
Growing up as a bigger kid, I kind of figured I wouldn't be playing running back or quarterback, and playing at a line has really showed me how beautiful the position is. You have 5 groups of guys going out together to achieve one goal, and it's really important that one player, one of those O-linemen, are able to be able to compete and execute their position. So what really drives me to get better is just not being that weak link on the O-line. So I just go out every day wanting to get better and just hopefully having my other brothers back on the O-line.
Gabe, Coach Benzel talked a little bit about your leadership qualities. Describe the impact that Coach Benzel's had on you as a football player, the impact he's had on you as a person as well.
The second I stepped on campus, Coach Benzel's been a great mentor to me on and off the field. He was actually one of the only coaches through the recruiting process that wanted me to do nursing and football, so that was very pivotal in my decision. But from just little talks in his office and just him checking in on me has just been great. And on the field, he demands excellence. He trains you to be a champion. And he overall wants you to leave Westminster being like a good man. And there's not a whole lot I can ask for my head coach.
What aspect of playing football at Westminster are you most looking forward to this season? And tell us why.
Just playing my final season of football with this group of seniors that came in. This is a really special group. We've been through a lot for the past 4 years, and all the relationships I've made at Westminster, through the juniors, the sophomores, it's just, there's no other way I'd want to send out my last career season at Westminster.
Leadership, Gabe, comes in all kinds of different forms. Talk a little bit about what you believe best describes the type of leadership you bring to a pretty successful Westminster program.
Like Coach Benzel said, I'm more of a leader by example. I go out to practice every day, giving my all, knowing what needs to be done and everything, and I'm working on the vocal aspect, but I do the little things. I make sure I'm giving my 100% at practice, and a lot of the players kind of geared towards that. And they'll come up to me and ask me many questions, but I just haven't been the vocal one, so I more lead by example.
Gabe, my last question for you. You've earned multiple All-PAC selections and helped the Titans claim 2 conference championships so far. What's your expectation going into this year, not just for the team, but any kind of expectations you have for yourself?
We all, as a community whole, have a mentality of just wanting to be the best, wanting to go undefeated in the PAC, win the conference, and then compete and win the national championship. And as for me, I always want to improve every season, whether it's run efficiency, pass blocking, just not giving up sacks. And those are probably our goals for the season.
Coach Gabe, thank you guys. Westminster is scheduled to get its season underway Saturday, September 3rd at Delaware Valley University. Westminster, good job.